The thing that tends to get people excited in the crypto market is obviously when they're making money, when they're up on their investment. And, this is something that the entire market has struggled with as of late. I have some people in my personal life that actually bought some of the dips back in the fall before we even took off in November. And they've been experiencing even some lower prices than that. But times are, in fact, starting to shift. In fact, we have seen this for Shiba Inu climb all the way up to 54%. And we need to talk about actually this biggest wall that Shiba Inu has, because when this does occur, that is when the doors open and sentiment follows. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So I'm going to try to keep you guys updated on prices the day goes on. Right now, it's still about 6:37 a.m. Central Standard Time. We just had a big kind of sell-off, not really a big sell-off. We had an Ethereum sell-off. It kind of drug ERC20s down. SHIB is down at about 153, 152. And just trying to determine, are we going to make this extension today? I really hope we do. It could be a very exciting thing as the day goes on. But that's not what I want to talk about. I do want to talk about SHIB on a fundamental level, because what we have actually seen now is a pretty big change take place. We have actually climbed to the point where we are at 54% of Shiba Inu holders either at or in the money. So this is the first time SHIB has been above 50% in quite some time, probably since, back here on April 26th or back here on March 26th. So we're at this point where it's been very difficult to see some consistency in these numbers. And it's just because obviously SHIB has dealt with short interest that has pushed it down. Sentiment has been garbage. On risk assets, retail driven assets just haven't been the exciting thing as of late. And frankly, we haven't had a meme season in quite some time. So we've seen these drop to some pretty insane lows, but now things are starting to turn around. They're starting to rise. We've seen a lot of that supply be removed, right? That's what has helped Shiba Inu make some of these more extended moves, even on lower volume. All right. Now, I will say that we have seen Shiba Inu volume actually climb to about $600 million over the last 24 hours. It's a pretty significant surge, as you guys can see. And we're on the verge again of potentially even bigger moves coming from here. But what I did want to point to is that right now, Shiba Inu is up against its largest concentration of holders either in or at the money. All right. So when we're looking at this right now, you guys can see this big bubble that we're at currently, which is between 4015 to 4019. That is where 128,000 addresses are either in the money or at the money currently. All right. And this is our biggest hump that Shiba Inu has to get through. This is the range that theoretically Shiba Inu would struggle with the most, because it's where, if you do have people that are just looking to break even and just unload their position, this is where they're going to do it. But the good news for Shiba Inu is that most people have a long-term mindset. I'm sure there are many people here that watch the channel that these are about the levels where they've done some pretty heavy accumulating. And yet, despite that, look at this little resistance we see all the way back here. And it's because people have long-term mindset, long-term conviction. When we look at this percentage of holders, like we talked about the other day, holding 1 year or longer for Shiba Inu, it's one of the longest in the crypto market, despite, again, quite a few people being in profit. All right. And what we also see is that this number doesn't really change as we get into higher prices. All right. So what we've really witnessed is a major overhaul in the holder composition for Shiba Inu. You've seen a huge shift from the hands of the impatient to the hands of the patient. And a lot of what this has been is, one, people that are already here, but two, people that are now getting in at low prices that are expecting obviously some pretty significant surges. A lot of people still have this long-term mindset. They're still focused on, 1 cent, 10 cents, a dollar, not saying that those are going to happen for sure, right? But that is where Shiba Inu holder mentality differs from a lot of other assets in the space. And it's why SHIB can go on some of these pretty insane runs during times of market excitement. And now that we're starting to see that take place, well, the market has gotten a lot more conducive for a major Shiba Inu breakout ahead. So the biggest thing I have to say is, again, we just need to be patient, need to let these things take place as they come, and probably won't be long before we start seeing some of those pretty huge Shiba Inu candles once again. So appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.